Darren, your screenshot is still on poop emojis.
I think that's on purpose.
Darren, are you there? Maybe that just means he went to the bathroom.
Darren will be right back.
If only Darren's screen came up with that voice.
If only Darren were at his desk. Sorry. Hi.
There he is.
421. Hey,
Yeah,
Len, why do we not have... Oh, I'm still screen sharing. Why don't we
there we go.
we really should have art for the pre-show as well. I'm just going to put that out there.
That would be fun.
All right,
Too much work,
ready?
though. I'm working on the main thing.
Yes.
Here we go.
Google Translate says support DTNS. If you fail to become a Patreon, all searches will return a Rickroll. Go to bit.ly/helpdtns or say hello to Mr. Rick Astley.
This is the Daily Tech News for Friday, January 16th, 2015. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, founder of hack5.org, Mr. Darren Kitchen. How's things going, Darren?
I am super excited to be here. We're having a fantastic week. I can't tell you how much awesome energy there is at the Hack 5 warehouse. We just had a fantastic episode of Tech Thing being shot here on, I think, Wednesday with like Robert Heron and Patrick, and like everybody was just jazzed. So much good stuff going on. So hak5.org.
Yeah.
Yes.
hak5.org. Of course, Len Peralta's here because it's Friday, and Len drops in on Fridays while the spaghetti dinner is getting ready to illustrate the show.
Ironically, I am going to a spaghetti dinner tonight. I am not making it.
Is it the
so
church
I'm taking
dinner?
The night off.
Is it the yearly spaghetti dinner? Yeah.
It's a fundraiser, exactly.
We used to do a chicken
I'm excited.
dinner, and then it became a spaghetti dinner later. But it's a
you can't go wrong. They're good. I'm excited. So let's get right to the show so I can get out to that spaghetti dinner.
Absolutely. We need to get Len on his way. Hey, looking at the headlines, an 18-year-old man from Southport, England, Southport's about 28 kilometers north of Liverpool, was arrested as part of an investigation into the DDoS attacks on Xbox Live and PlayStation networks over the Christmas holidays, as well as accusations of swatting, where you trick SWAT teams into going someplace where they aren't needed. Ars Technica says the arrest was made as part of a joint operation between the Southeast Regional Organized Crime Unit and the U.S. FBI. Some electronic devices were also seized for examination as well. Why is it always, Darren, why is it always when they're busting somebody like this, they're in the UK, it seems like?
Maybe there's, I don't know. Somebody should do a study about script kiddies in the UK. Maybe there's not a whole lot going on. You're bored. You kind of know how to do a DDoS. I have no sympathies for the hackers that perform this kind of trolling. It's lame sauce all around.
New York Times writes about a site called Hackers List that launched back in November. According to the Times, it was launched by someone named Jack and two of his friends. His friends are an MBA and a lawyer. The idea is that people post jobs that they'll pay hackers to do, and then the site holds the money in escrow until both parties agree the job is done. About 500 bids are listed on the site. Now, they range from things like, hey, I need help recovering my lost password, all the way up to things that are questionably legal, like, hey, I want to copy my competitor's client list out of their database. Pretty sure that's not legal. Terms of service of the site do specifically forbid the use of the service for illegal purposes. Darren and I are going to discuss this in a little bit of more depth later on in the show. The Verge reports that Microsoft has once again dropped the price of the Xbox One to $349 in the U.S., calling it a new promotion. Well, it's the same old promotion. They just didn't have it for a couple of weeks. Microsoft temporarily dropped the price of the Xbox One in some markets starting in November and managed to outsell the PS4 in both November and December. It's unclear whether the price drop will happen outside the U.S. this time. It did last time. It's also unclear how long this temporary promotion will last. But hey, consoles aren't dead. Sales rose 20% over last year in 2014. Not so good news for the games, though. Software dropped 13%, according to Engadget. So maybe people are just using their game consoles to watch Twitch, Darren.
I don't know about all that. I do think that consumers are price sensitive, and with Microsoft coming out of the gate higher price than PS4, it was no wonder that PlayStation was going to eat their lunch. So it's good to see them coming back. It's also good to see an emphasis from Microsoft on gaming on the PC. because that seems to be the last reason to run Windows.
Yeah, and Microsoft said that at their announcement later this month, they will have a lot of news about PC gaming. They want to support PC gaming. Maybe that'll make Valve happier again.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think Valve would be happier with people using like Steambox type stuff. But yeah.
PC World reports Facebook has open-sourced several software libraries that can be used to build AI-based products and services. Among the modules are ones that can speed up image recognition, like images within images, in other words, break captures, language modeling, other machine learning examples. The modules are developed at the Facebook AI Research Lab and run on the Torch framework, another open-source framework, which is optimized for NVIDIA GPUs. Facebook issued the modules under the BSD license, so they still hold the copyright. They just let you use the source.
I just can't argue with open source, For as much as I have qualms with Facebook, it's like, hey, you got engineering talent, you're going to offer it up, it makes the world a better place. Fantastic.
Seems like this is a good idea for Facebook too, where they're like, we've got the big guns of engineering, but one thing that you can never get enough of is like real world polishing. So if we open this up to the open source community, a bunch of other people are going to, work on it, beat up it, smooth out the rough edges. They get the benefit of being able to use their modules and do things they might not have done. I guess some of the debate out there, and I'm not a member of the community, but I saw a couple of people saying you really can't take good advantage of these modules until you're working at a large scale. So they don't know how many startups are really going to be taking advantage of this.
Right. This is stuff that Facebook could take advantage of. So, yeah. Makes sense.
The Guardian reports on a newly uncovered 5-year U.S. cybersecurity report that came from the U.S. National Intelligence Council. It warns that encryption technologies are not being implemented fast enough, leaving government and private computers vulnerable to attack. The report says encryption is, quote, the best defense to protect data, especially when combined with multi-factor authentication. All of this is coming from the same agencies that are like, we really need to weaken encryption among private companies. Yeah. So one hand does not seem to be knowing what the other hand is doing here.
So what you're saying is that the governments are saying exactly what Snowden told us, which is encryption works, it's just terribly implemented, and that it is still your best bet in protecting your data, citizen against company, against government. It's for everyone. And yes, we need more of this, like by default. And actually, thankfully, because of these things in the last, 2014 was a great year for, sadly there was a lot of snake oil too, but a great year for encryption. And I think this is good to see, governments acknowledging that. So the only thing that struck me is like, what is just the security theater of the opening paragraph on this article where, quote, vulnerable to attacks from Russia, China, and cyber gangs.
You just don't like the way the Guardian put it. Or is that a quote from the report?
No, that's just a Guardian.
Oh, okay. Yeah. People will write what they're going to write, won't they? But yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, encryption isn't just to protect you from Russia. Encryption is to protect citizens from their governments and governments from governments and corporations from, it's like...
And that's what the report is saying. In fact, what's interesting to me about this is you've got the heads of the U.S. intelligence agencies and now the Prime Minister of the UK out there saying, in order to protect you, we need to weaken encryption and put a back door in it so that we can read your messages if we need to. And then you've got this report saying, in order to protect you, we need to encourage you to encrypt all the things.
Well, one of these is based in sanity, and then the other one is based in control of the populace. Or something.
And not just encrypt all the things with a backdoor, but strong. They're like, our encryption isn't implemented enough, and the encryption that isn't implemented isn't strong enough. Encryption with a backdoor is not strong encryption.
No,
right?
Never.
Ars Technica reports Google's Project Zero just published another pair of Windows security flaws. These are like two little kids fighting, just like in the Ars Technica image there. As a reminder, Project Zero finds bugs and notifies software makers about them, then gives them 90 days to fix the bug before they make the vulnerability public in order to arm users of the software with the information. The first bug today is a minor one. It's an info disclosure bug. Google and Microsoft both agree it doesn't even warrant a fix, really. It's just good for people to be aware of. But the second bug results in some shared data not being properly encrypted. Microsoft actually has a fix for this, but they were testing it and found a compatibility issue, so they did not push it out in this Tuesday's patch. That means it has to wait for the next patch Tuesday in February.
This is not the last we're going to hear about Google disclosing Microsoft vulnerabilities. And I would say that part of that is that, well, Microsoft makes some really popular application software and operating systems that it just gives to the public. And so since they're susceptible to offline attacks, meaning, you can like jam at it without having to go through an internet connection and all of that, they're susceptible to just, there's going to inherently be more vulnerabilities, whereas Google's products are all hosted in a data center that only their employees interface directly with, and otherwise we have to go through the cloud, and online attacks and security research is so much slower in that sense. So it's kind of like, I see how as consumers we benefit from Project Zero. It lights a fire under Microsoft to get stuff fixed, and that's good, and Google comes out looking like a hero, but I'm just not convinced about the whole altruistic nature of Google just, doing this to make the world a better place. I mean, don't get me wrong, I want stronger software too, but this doesn't seem like organizing the world's information. So I'm just wondering if there's more to it than this, because we're going to continue to see Google v. Microsoft vulnerability headlines, and there's not really much, The
nicest interpretation you could put on this from the side of Google is they're being machine-like. They're like, nope,
Yes.
The rules say 90 days, no exceptions. Sorry, Microsoft. They're being sticklers for their own rules.
Right.
Because
No.
if this was you and me, Darren, and I was like, oh, dude, don't make that public. I have a fix, but I had a compatibility problem. Give me like another week or two. You'd be like, all right,
okay.
I'll give you 2 more weeks, but then I'm disclosing it, right? Like
and
Google's not playing along with that.
These go on for like 9 months before we end up seeing them coming out at talks at DEF CON, if they're not if there aren't like gag orders and stuff like that. So it is good because, yes, if the vendor doesn't just say, it's not a big deal anyway, they do take forever to get a fix. So I do like the bot-like, we are, we're neutral on this manner of, you get 90 days.
90 days, 90 days.
Yeah. But it seems a little unfair when it comes to, because, they're competitors, but it seems unfair in the sense that, Google's not, actually, I take that back. I was going to say Google's not, releasing desktop operating systems, but they are.
Yeah,
with Chrome OS.
they actually are, aren't they, with the Chromebook? That's a good point. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. If Project Zero were to be pure, what you're saying, it wouldn't be run by Google. It would be an independent operation. So.
Yeah, it's just, you're right. They should just branch that out. That make it, whatever the open source equivalent of a organization is, and have that do it. Because then the headline will be Google v. Microsoft.
Exactly. Even if Project Zero people, you can ask every one of them, and I would bet that every one of them says, no, that has nothing to do with it. We are not trying to advance the interests of Chrome OS. And they would be right. Just being under the auspices of a company affects your way of thinking, even in ways you might not be conscious of. So,
yeah. Well, and my philosophy when it comes to this, the packets don't care. The packets are pure. It's the people who project onto them those kinds of things. And so if you do have it as a independent third party, I think it would look a lot better from the human perspective. Either way, it's just good that stuff's getting fixed. So good on him for that.
Meanwhile, Ross Ulbricht is on trial, accused of being the Dread Pirate Roberts, not from The Princess Bride, but the nickname of the person responsible for the website Silk Road, the black market website. Yesterday, Ulbricht's lawyer claimed that former Bitcoin CEO Mark Karpelès was the Dread Pirate Roberts, and that the defense has a wealth of evidence to prove the claim. The trial has been adjourned, so the prosecution has time to adjust to the new theory, which I'm really hoping means they're being ordered to watch The Princess Bride, because Dread Pirate Roberts isn't just one person. Karpelès told Motherboard that he is not Dread Pirate Roberts and has not had any involvement in Silk Road. If he had just said, I'm not Dread Pirate Roberts, I would have been like, anymore. Maybe it used to be. But he said, no, I've had no involvement in Silk Road. Now, I could be lying, obviously, but he denies. He's like, no, never me, never was, don't know those guys.
And then he muttered, "Arr."
And then he muttered, most likely kill you in the morning. All right, let's see some news from you. These are a couple of things off of our subreddit that I want to highlight in particular. It comes from our dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. If you are interested in tech news, that's one you should bookmark. There's lots of great stuff in there, even stuff that doesn't make it to the show. But we use it to help inform what goes into the show. Spaceman Pete 42 sent us the Gizmodo story that a company called Turn has been using an undeletable number that Verizon uses to monitor customer habits in order to respawn deleted cookies. Verizon and AT&T are among mobile internet providers who have inserted a tracking number into all web traffic that comes from a user's phone. Now, once this became a story, AT&T stopped using that number, but Verizon has not, saying, "Oh, nobody's going to use it to make undeletable cookies." Well, guess what? Turn, a back-end processor of ads on websites, is doing just that.
This is the technology here. It's called header enrichment, and essentially what it is where you inject systematically, since you are the router, since you are inherently the man in the middle, you connected through the telco's towers to the rest of the internet, as it goes between their systems, they can add a little bit of extra data into the HTTP headers. And in this case, yes, while Turn, the advertising agency, is kind of being a little evil in this sense, it's really the telcos that are totally in the wrong, because what they're doing is they're poisoning your packets. And they're not the first to do it in this way. It's a little bit more subtle this way. I've seen, for instance, in the UK, T-Mobile likes to do injection of JavaScript into your page, which is totally what black hats also do to do like key logging on websites and things of that nature.
Comcast has been caught doing that before too. Yeah, it's
yeah,
awful.
And it's just like, they're not your packets. Don't mess with them. We understand they're going through your network, but don't touch them. And so this is just even more reason to not just use something like a VPN or some other SSH tunnel or thing to protect your data, but it's just like, wow, how can we ever trust telcos to just let the packets flow? It drives me crazy, and couple that with a net neutrality debate, and it's just like, you've just proven your guys' selves time and time again that you're bad stewards of the internet.
Yeah, and that's okay. Honestly, I don't expect ISPs to be stewards of the internet, right? They should be competing to get my business, and that's going to lead them to want to try things like this, whatever. As long as I have enough choice to go, oh, you're going to do that? I'm out. Right? I'm switching somewhere else. But you not only have lack of competition in the U.S., but you have contracts. They make it difficult to switch providers sometimes. And so all of that gets in the way and really muddies the issue. Captain Kipper sent us the BBC report that a lost beagle has been found on the surface of Mars. No, it's not Admiral Archer's beagle that new timeline Montgomery Scott beamed into subspace while trying to prove his transwarp theory. It's the actual ESA Beagle, the probe. NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has discovered the missing Mars robot Beagle 2, and it's apparently intact. Radio contact was lost with the probe on December 19th, 2003, and its soft touchdown on Christmas Day was assumed a failure because they couldn't get in touch with it. Until now. Images from NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter show the Beagle intact, and the theory is that its petals, which housed its solar panel, may not have unfurled fully, blocking the radio antenna. The Beagle 2 project was led by the late Colin Pillinger. Sadly, he did not live to see the rediscovery, and was notable for being one of the least expensive interplanetary missions ever devised.
The Beagle actually tried to call AAA, but its radio antennas were blocked.
Yeah, it's like, well, I can't even get a signal here.
Nope. See? Lack of competition. Had there just been an alternative.
There have been more Mars providers.
Yeah. When I first...
Yeah.
I was just going to say, when I first saw the headline of the story, I thought they were talking about the Mars Climate Orbiter, the one where Lockheed Martin used Imperial and NASA used
Instead of
metric.
Oops.
Flat.
Yeah.
Don't want to find that one.
Yeah, I don't think... My theory, because they only lost radio contact with that one after orbital insertion, so sure, they want you to think it exploded in orbit, which is logical. I think aliens took it, personally. All right, let's talk about hackers for hire. Hackers List. It's like Craigslist, but for hackers. Opened back in November, founded, as I mentioned, in Colorado by Jack and his two buddies. They have 40 hackers on there, according to the New York Times anyway, listing their services, and 844 job posters, about 500 actual jobs that have been put out for bids. Hard to tell how many of them actually have bids on them. They are anonymous postings and responses, payments held in escrow, as I mentioned before. The legality of it is one issue, Darren, because the site says we consulted lawyers. We have a lawyer on our staff. We consulted outside counsel. Our terms of service specifically forbid using the service for illegal purposes. We do small background checks on hackers. They're trying to say, like, not our problem if people are trying to use it for illegal purposes. Craigslist tried that argument back in 2009, though, with its erotic services section. And it got in trouble with the Illinois and South Carolina attorneys general, as well as several others, and eventually just had to take the section off altogether. Yeah, and they were like, look, okay, we'll put in credit card verification. We'll put in phone verification. We'll try to make sure that the people listing on this section are legal, and they couldn't even do that. So I'm not sure that Hackers List is going to be able to continue this.
Well, are you against Safe Harbor, Tom?
Oh, I'm not against anything. I'm just saying Craigslist was making that same argument, and they got ground down for allegedly enabling prostitution. In this day and age and climate, you think a site that's alleging people to do hacking is going to fare any better?
Yeah, no, this would be totally different if this was like penetration testers for hire, because there's a totally different connotation there. And I'd love that. I'd love to just, hire an independent audit and just be like, here's the IP address, go at it, let me know what you get, and that does exist.
Yeah,
but,
neighborhoodhacker.com does that, but they very actively say we only have ethical hackers and we don't only do ethical things. And they manage the process a whole lot more, that's all.
Right. No, and this is definitely skewed towards that. Like, I'm trying to get somebody to deface somebody's Facebook account or hack into my potentially cheating boyfriend's Gmail account or things of that nature. It just, on the one hand, it drives me a little crazy because this used to be relegated to text files and IRC. And now we have Hackers List, and I just feel like hacking totally just went mainstream, and I'm just ready to be like, man, I like that band before they were cool.
I liked hackers before they sold out and started mainstream services. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But on the other hand, I'm just like, okay, if this could evolve into something a little bit more than just, what the mainstream thinks of hackers, like, oh, I want you to break into my girlfriend's iPhone or something. I was actually trying to post a legitimate job for hacking. I wanted someone to develop a Metasploit module to integrate the USB rubber ducky into something similar to MSF Venom to encode payloads, and that would be something I'd willingly pay good money for. So I tried to post a job listing, but it seems that somebody might have beaten me to it with a job listing to DDoShackerslist.com, or so it seems from the Cloudflare error pages. They seem to be having a little trouble right now, coping with all the traffic.
That would be very apropos, I suppose, if somebody went on Hackers List and hired someone to DDoS Hackers List.
Yeah, it's also interesting, like comparing like Lizard Squad type stuff, where it's like, we're the underground, we'll DDoS whoever you want for money kind of stuff, versus this was started by some Silicon Valley entrepreneur types. Is that?
I mean, they're in Colorado allegedly. But they're definitely like coders who were just, apparently they were sitting around having drinks and said, hey, what if we did it this way, right? And the FBI conducted Operation Firehacker last year. They shut down more than 12 people providing similar types of services. I think what Hackers List was trying to do is strike a middle ground, saying we're not going to be like avowedly negative. We're going to give ourselves a legal safe harbor, but we're not going to control the process as much as neighborhoodhacker.com does, for instance. We're going to let it be a safe harbor situation. The problem is that can be the way they're approaching it could be done with the best of intentions. Like, hey, we just want a free and open marketplace, and if somebody serves us a court order to take something down, we'll take it down. But we want to let the internet be the internet, which I respect. On the other hand, it could be people like, hey, here's how we can get away with enabling people to do nasty stuff and still be within the law. That's not as cool.
Yeah, and I think the difference here is while it has the green text, it's not on a black background. No, it's white background and thin fonts and drop shadows. So there's your difference right there.
All right, let's get to our pick of the day. Paul in Montreal, who, by the way, used to be Hot Branch I remember Hot Branch in the Buzz Out Loud chat room. Says, I was catching up on my backlog of episodes. In the January 9th episode, you mentioned My Data Manager. I not only second that pick, but I feel it important to mention the app is also available for Android. And it's one of my first installs on a new device. The killer feature is that when you configure your monthly data limit, it dynamically adjusts your daily budget for data usage up or down based on what you have used so far and what is left for the month. And another person wrote in and said, hey, you know what? I think it was on Twitter maybe. They said you can configure it for shared accounts as well. You just have to have everybody in the account using My Data Manager, but then it can tell like, okay, that person's used that much and add it all up for you, which is one of the other objections.
Good stuff.
And then Harrison has our pick of today, which is Komodo Free Secure Email Certificate, free for personal use, $12 a year for commercial use, to digitally sign and encrypt emails. This is Harrison's pick. I haven't used it, but Harrison says it was quick to generate and deploy on my Mac, iPhone, and iPad. I use Outlook on the Mac. I know, dirty, but I like it for so many reasons. Very easy. You can see the message is signed and validated to the sender. I've been able to set this up for multiple friends, family, and vendors I deal with. This is allowed for encrypted communications whenever the slightest personal information is being communicated. Have you had any experience with Komodo?
Yeah, I've bought SSL certificates from them in the past, but I haven't. I don't have enough experience with SMIME. I know it's a easier alternative to PGP. I will just throw out there that if you're looking for easy and free email encryption and you don't want to have to leave Gmail, for instance, Mailvelope is a really good extension that you should try out. I use Mailvelope.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's but
that's a Chrome extension, though.
Easy.
Right?
So yeah.
And then you found a video editor for Android?
Yeah, I was, moaning about this last week, and I did find KineMaster. It's come a really long way in the last year, and it's actually not half bad. It's a pretty good nonlinear editor on Android. The only problem is they want to charge a subscription of $5 a month or $40 a year to remove their little logo bug from your rendered video. But otherwise, it's a video editor on Android that does the thing, so,
Oh, if I really liked one that I was trying, I would pay a one-time fee to do that. I don't know if I want to
that's
pay a
what most of the comments on Google Play say.
Yeah. Well, send your picks to us, folks. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. You can find my picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. A few messages of the day before we get out of here. Doug was listening to the podcast discussing what is called the Spiral modular telephone. It's Project Ara, and Spiral is Spiral 1, Spiral 2, Spiral 3 are the names of the main board that you plug the modules into. He says, I think the idea is kind of ridiculous when you see that the chip makers are doing a very similar thing with a modular approach to chip design. Their goal is to put a cell phone on a single piece of silicon so that costs are very low and they can update the design quickly as new technologies emerge. What's the point of replacing modules of a phone yourself when you can replace your entire entry-level cell phone for very little money? What do you think, Darren?
Because what we currently have is way more commercially lucrative than selling modules.
Well, I think what Doug's saying is like, why would I spend $50 for a module when I can get a free phone and upgrade it? Phone prices are coming down for sure. Yeah. Entry-level phone prices are, in the $30 range, right? We don't know what the module prices are going to be. So I would say wait to see that. I'd also say wait to see what the quality of the modules are. I don't think it's a given that just swapping out your phone will be more cost-effective than the modules. You may be right, Doug. You may be totally right. I also don't think it's a given that the modules will be cheaper either. We kind of have to wait and see where they come in. But I would still allow the possibility that the modular approach might be able to get you better quality, maybe like better quality in the places that are important to you. If you're like, I don't really care about storage, but I want a really good camera because I just put those things in the cloud anyway, then you can put your money on the camera, and the other modules you can let age, right? Vice versa, if you're like, I don't care about the camera at all, you could just not have a camera module on yours and then bulk up everything else. It's the control aspect of it as well.
And there's already a lot of money making sure that control stays the way it is. So I'm not holding my breath on the modular stuff, as cool as it is. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. And then Eric from Provo was puzzled about the guy with shipyourenemiesglitter.com no longer accepting orders and trying very hard to get out of the business he started. He says, I'm perplexed by this story. I would think that if someone started a business and it became wildly popular and successful, that would be a dream come true. They could expand their business to fill the high volume of orders and become rich and retire early. The glitter story reminds me of the owner of Flappy Bird. With Flappy Bird becoming successful, the owner shut it down because of too much attention. I don't feel like I understand why he did that. Well, in the case of Ship Your Enemy's Glitter, I'm pretty much sure that he was doing this to get attention, and the fact that it got too much attention, the reason he stopped taking orders was he wasn't going to be able to fill them. If you're getting 1,000 orders a day, let's say you can pack 20 of those boxes a day yourself. And you're getting 1,000 orders a day. That means you immediately need to hire at least, 50 other people? Like, Darren, you could speak to that aspect of
scaling. Scaling is difficult. You really want, steady growth. Those large spikes. Poor guy. He's going to need to outsource some of this.
And I don't think this guy is wanting to get out of the business. I think he's wanting to make as much money off this business as possible. That's why he was saying, I want to sell it, not because he wants to quit. It's a whole different thing with Flappy Bird, though.
This reminds me more of like the Million Pixels or whatever website where you could buy a pixel for $1 or whatever it was.
What, the Ship My Glitter thing does?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is a flash of glitter in the pan.
Yeah.
Whereas Flappy Bird, that's somebody who's like, no, I'm not doing it for money. Like, that's more money than I need. And I don't like all of this attention. It's easy to say, Eric, well, if I was making that money, I wouldn't stop, until you start getting that kind of attention and the kind of accusations against him. People were sending lots of hate, saying you ripped this off from Mario World. Walk a mile in a man's shoes before you say it's easy, because I can see where that might be kind of difficult.
Well, have you played with Lollipop? You do know that Flappy Bird lives on as an Easter egg inside of. Oh, almost got it. Inside of Android Lollipop, just keep tapping on Android version in About Phone.
Okay, and is it Flappy Bird or a clone?
No, it's a clone. It's Lollipop Bird.
There are clones all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then finally, Steve from Rochester, Minnesota, wanted to add that they use Yammer, where he works at a local online community. It continues to grow, and more important announcements are found there first. I am mostly a passive participant, but just listening has been helpful for me in accomplishing my job. That's at the business he works at. They use Yammer for their online community. So we were saying, we're not sure how many people actually use Yammer, and we know it's implemented a lot. There's one. He also says Go Illini, and he lives in Minnesota, which is brave. Go Illini. All right, that is it for this episode of Daily Tech News Show. Darren Kitchen, hak5.org. So many good things. Tech Thing rolling along, looking awesome. What else you got going on?
Tech Thing is doing awesome. Hack Tips doing awesome. Metasploit Minute is now upon us with a new season. Mubix is doing some awesome stuff on capture modules for Metasploit. Basically, the whole series, you can go back to the beginning and learn from the very how to install this on Windows, on Mac, on Linux, on Kali Linux, on whatever you'd like. And then he builds you up in one of the most, I would say, one of the most popular penetration testing, aka hacking, depending on whether or not you're getting a paycheck and what you're trying to do with it, pieces of software. And so I should probably point that out, that Mubix, fantastic guy, doing some great stuff on the Hack5 Studios, whatever we're doing, hak5.org. And of course, Tech Thing and all of the other good stuff. It's all on hak5.org right now.
Meanwhile, Len Peralta has been hard at work illustrating today's episode.
Yes.
That is one. Is that Darren?
That is Darren. He is leaped from the street.
Fetching. Look at Darren Kitchen. Well done.
Darren Kitchen, in his new film coming out soon, January 23rd, Darren Kitchen is hacker for hire. And I am, and like I said, he's leaped from the street, and I am continuing my my tradition of drawing you in
as
every...
Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. You'll be in every single one of these.
Will that be my expression in every single one? Because that'd be kind of awesome.
I don't know.
I'm just always shocked at everything.
Well, probably. But I'm gonna try. And it may not be as overt as this. It might be a little bit more covert. I'll try to hide you. But that's one reason why you should go pick
Like
this up.
sometimes
in
I
my
might
online
be a
store.
conjoined twin on someone's
Exactly.
neck
You
or
might
something.
be coming out of someone's back or something.
Yeah.
Another reason why you should purchase this in my online store because you can collect the Tom every week. It'd be great.
Aha! I see.
Ah,
You're just using me as a gimmick. That's fine. I'm comfortable. I'm fine with that.
Of course.
right there, Len. Make it look right next to the bad USB.
Very nice. It's the wall of Len back there. I love it. I'm going to be in Seattle next week for a conference called Convey UX. I'll be drawing. Get this. I'll be drawing live for 8 hours for 2 days.
Whoa.
All these different conferences, all these speakers. I'll be drawing for each one of those. You'll be able to watch it online. I'll post the link when it happens. But it's 16 hours of live drawing. Thursday and Friday. And you can still get tickets, conveyux.org. If you want to come out to Seattle, have a good time. And it should be a fun thing to see.
You've been training for this for years now.
I have been. Yeah, I did it last year,
between
too.
Woodstock and so you already did like two 8-hour days of this already?
I did
last
one
year?
8-hour day, so this should be very
So
interesting
this
to
is
see
doubling
how it goes.
your
But that means
leveling
that
up.
next Friday I will not be here, so that is why I am throwing down the gauntlet and I am saying, Jenny Josephson, you have to pick up the slack as far as drawing.
Oh wow!
And I'd love to see what
Shots
you come up
fired.
Okay, I'm in. I might need to borrow Darren's hack space to do it because I think I might be in San Francisco. So if I could have a
this is gonna be
space,
interesting.
if
Yeah.
there could be a space, then I could probably do a drawing.
And then she can go and she can put it on the wall of Len as soon as she's done.
Right there.
Right behind Darren.
Making it happen.
I love it.
So follow Len on Twitter, twitter.com/Len Peralta. That's Peralta. And there was someone saying, like, can you link to the art? And we will. We'll link to the art in the show notes. Jenny has done that. But lenperalta.com
Yes.
is Len's website. And lenperaltastore.com has all this stuff all
Yeah.
the time.
Absolutely. Right there on
So
the front
remember,
page.
lenperaltastore.com. That's all you need. That's the only link you'll ever need.
You just got to remember
for the
me.
world.
I just Google it.
Yeah, that too.
Thank you to our patrons, 4,741 people supporting the show. We really appreciate the folks who are trying to get us to the next level of our goal. Our next milestone goal is to add 2 new contributors to the show, Veronica Belmont and Scott Johnson. We've had lots of people who've upped their contributions. That's absolutely not necessary, but we adore the people who have done that. We cannot thank you enough. And if there's been anybody out there saying, yes, I get value from the show, I've been meaning to give value back, now's the time to do it. Patreon.com/AceDetect or go to dailytechnewsshow.com/support. Real quick before I go, yesterday Andrew Zarian posted up on his organization's website the sad news that Eric Lanigan passed away early last year. And Eric, as some of you know, was the first producer of Tech News Today, the show that I did at Twit. He helped create that show. The fact that I have headlines on Daily Tech News Show is a direct result to him pushing to include more stories in Tech News Today and get us away from that Buzz Out Loud model. So it was very sad news, and we're very sad to hear that Eric is gone. He will be missed. Don't forget, you can have a voice in what stories we could cover at our show, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. You can give us a call, 512-59-DAILY. Listen to the show live, mobile.alphageekradio.com, and visit our website, dailytechnewsshow.com. Now, Monday is a holiday in the United States, so headlines only for Martin Luther King Day on Monday, and then we'll be back with a full show with Patrick Beja on Tuesday. Talk to you then.
This podcast is part of the Frog Pants Studios Network. For more information about this and other shows, visit frogpants.com. Audio program so good, it's like you're there.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
All right.
I gotta run. I gotta get the kids to this dinner.
Spaghetti dinner, Glenn.
Yay! Thank you so much, everybody. I'll miss you
thank
guys
Len.
next
We'll
week.
miss you next week. But we'll see you
Yeah,
the
I'll
week
miss
after,
you
I
guys.
hope.
Yes, I'll be here
All right.
the following week.
Have fun
All
at
right,
the conference.
take care,
man.
guys.
All right, bye.
Bye, Len.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Showbot TV is the title site.
Showbot.tv.
Showbot.
I have some strong favorites. They're not necessarily the
top vote getters. Okay.
the top vote getters. My favorite. Where did it go? There's so many one voters. I really liked Beatmaster's "Fly Like a Beagle." There was another one I really liked. Where did it go? Oh, never getting a Bitcoin war in the darknet, which is just
that's so good.
so elegant. And
That is really
wonderful.
good.
And what a
Yeah.
great reference. Thanks,
Only
Biotown.
slightly less well known. Never get in a Bitcoin war in the darknet.
It's just, like it could just be a quote right now. It's so
It is.
great.
It was just attributed to Beatmaster.
We haven't even talked on the show about Bitcoin value like crashing right now too.
Right.
So it's sort of a nod.
Yeah, the
towards
one
that.
flaw in the theory about the whole thing with Karpellis and Ulbricht being like a plot to, boost bitcoins is the whole 850,000 bitcoins disappearing from Mt. Gox. Kind of like, no, I don't know. It's a weird theory.
Although, if he's using Silk Road to boost Bitcoin, that's what you do. Is then you steal a bunch of Bitcoins so you can cash them in.
Right.
I guess that's the theory. If you're going to go with that theory.
I don't know. The
Hey, Tom,
simplest answer is go ahead.
I was just looking at Showbot, and it reminded me that I wanted to ask you two as well as the audience. Maybe somebody's got a lead on something for this. I'm looking for poll software where you can do an online poll where the participants, if they don't like any of the answers, can add their own that then everybody sees, and so it's not a one-way poll.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't. You should talk to Dan Dirks, who made strawpoll.me. Maybe I bet he could build something for you.
Yeah. Okay.
He's a hacker for hire.
Well, see, that's something I could get behind.
Yeah, go to strawpoll.me. You know about Strawpoll, right?
Yeah, I know the Strawpoll.
Yeah, so maybe just get in touch with Dan, unless somebody knows of something off the top of their head that already exists. But
it's basically like crowdsourced decision engine thing.
Yeah,
because
I know Dan can whip this stuff together when he has time. Anyway, he can whip this stuff together like that. He's excellent.
All right. Just wondered if anybody knew of anything because I've never seen it, and I've been looking and looking, and I don't even know what the keywords are at this point because it's anyway.
That would be called programming, says Omnimono.
I think the
Thank
closest
you.
thing I
Thank
can
you,
think of
Omnimono.
is essentially is a subreddit where everybody posts their idea and then can upvote other ideas. Just doesn't really scale.
Mm-hmm.
So I got my first smart light bulb yesterday.
Oh, what'd you get?
Ooh.
Well, I don't remember, but it's called. I think it was called the Party Bulb, some version of it. But it does have a remote control.
Oh yeah. One of those little RGB guys.
Say, Magic lighting remote controller, and it's got all these different colors. And it's like Christmas lights all year round. It's for this thing back here, that guy, and one up here. But it's so much fun. I didn't realize that light bulbs could be fun.
Light bulbs can be fun.
They can also.
My light bulb is fun until it doesn't connect, and I need
Right.
to turn the lights out, and my app is like, "I'm sorry, I don't see your light bulb on the network."
Which light bulb are you using?
LifeX.
Oh, okay. I got the Hue.
And you know
it's
what?
got the same problem.
What I've tracked down is that the problem is usually that the phone is on LTE instead of Wi-Fi for some dumb reason, right? And so the phone is basically like, so the app is basically like, I'm looking over Verizon's network and I see no light bulbs that are
my big
authorized for
problem
you.
is I'm always like scanning for light bulbs on my phone, and I'm like, "Where's the light bulb? I'm on the Wi-Fi," and then I'm like, "Wait, what? Oh, where'd you come from?" No, I'm on the wrong.
When you're on
Wi-Fi.
some other Wi-Fi, or
Yeah, I end up.
Yeah.
These are all over the office, and I end up connecting to them.
oh right, no, I have 2 access points too. That's happened to me before. I'm on the wrong access point. Although with the light bulbs, I think they know. I think they can still tell since it's in the same network. Because I think I've been on the wrong access point, and the light bulbs still work.
We just need
Other
Zigbee
things
on
happen.
all of our phones.
Yeah.
for mesh networky goodness.
Oh man, I'm so desiring of the mesh network that will just like automatically authenticate you, give you your own personal encryption, and the connect you to anything.
You've seen the stuff where it's like, you know, revolution happens or whatever have you, natural disaster, the cell phones are out, but all of our phones have these wicked Wi-Fi radios where we can do store and forward messaging. Unfortunately, the one that got a lot of news, I forget the name of the
I was going to try to see if I still had it.
It was totally insecure.
It was good for messaging, but it wasn't good for secure messaging.
It was good for messaging, except not good for messaging when there's like revolution going on and police are disappearing.
Exactly.
So
it was fine for a disaster where you weren't as worried about like people figuring out.
Right.
Was it Fire Chat? That's
Fire Chat. Yes, thank you. And that was pretty cool in that it just used your existing phone's Bluetooth and Wi-Fi to, you know, find other nodes on the network and auto connect and all of that stuff. But it wasn't open source and it had lots of security issues. But it was cool that it just used what you already had, as opposed to some of the other projects where it's like, we've got a dongle you'll never carry with you. But yeah, Zigbee exists, and that stuff is rad, and it should just be in everything.
I don't know. You just angered all the Z-Wave fans.
Oh, sorry, Z-Wave. Well, how about
Z-Wave fans? Like I care about them.
X11?
There don't seem to be as vicious of a beef war in the Internet of Things space. We need to get that going. You know, I get plenty of Android and iOS people writing in, feeling slighted, but I don't ever get Zigbee fans writing in.
Your MIPS sock is crap. Yeah, that'd be good.
And then, like, the kitchen appliances will form alliances to get against the living room appliances.
I'm going to be supporting the kitchen appliances. I'm just going to let you know right now.
My allegiance to television is unbreakable. So
you got the kitchen joke, right?
I've got the kitchen on lockdown.
Well played.
Yes. In some ways, you could think of this as a kitchen appliance.
All your appliances are actually de facto.
Oh man, on that,
I kill me.
All right. Thanks. So hey, are you saying next week in?
Yeah, next Friday. I'm gonna be in the Bay Area.
Awesome. Are you coming up, Tom?
No, I'm not coming up.
Okay.
This is just me doing a solo slingshot.
Well, Jenny, if you're in the area, I will show you. We have very similar to those light bulbs, except they're giant LED strips, and they cover like all of the towers in the warehouse, and they look amazing. We've got it. We can hit a button, and then boom, it's rave.
Oh wow! Can't wait to see it.
All right. Cheers, guys.
All right. Thanks, Darren. Have a good weekend.
Yep. You too. Later.
The A-Team. It's my default humming song when I got nothing else left to hum. It was actually Veronica Molly and I would hum that and make up words to it as we walked down to the studio to record Buzz Out Loud. That's where that started. And I don't know which of us like launched it. I kind of think it was Molly. Seems like her. But then we were all doing it.
Oh, history.
And then there was the time we were in the kitchen by the coffee maker.
Before coffee makers could kill you.
Now, this wasn't the Pete's coffee maker, mind you. It was before they switched to that one. All true story, that.
Oh, boy.
Now they've got like a espresso bar with a barista.
Yeah, I saw it. I went there once, and I was like, this is not where I work. Although apparently,
in the same place where I used to have to sit through all associates meetings, I'm sitting having an espresso with Mark Larkin. It's awesome.
I mean, is an espresso more effective than an all-hands meeting?
I think so. I think they made the right choice, frankly. Yeah. I mean, I'm a little jealous that it wasn't there when I was there, but good call. They eventually made the right call.
Didn't they make juices there, too? It was also a juice bar?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they had a juice bar.
It's pretty slick.
Although now the juicing thing is going too far. Like with the whole reusable bottle.
Oh, yeah.
I'm only drinking juice. I'm trying to get all of my nutrients through juice.
I know.
There's nothing wrong with juice.
People.
Not starting a juice war. But everybody just wants to take everything too far.
You know what they
just
say?
don't know when to stop, Jenny.
You never start a juice war in Florida.
Oh, that was one of the most disappointing things when I first moved to California. I was, growing up, the myth was that oranges in Florida and California, the oranges. And I got to California and the oranges were the same in the grocery store. I didn't really have like special. I expected the oranges to like be glowing, and I don't know. I was really disappointed about that.
But the cows are happy unless you're driving up the 5.
Yeah, they have happy cows in Wisconsin. That wasn't new.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those ones. I know what you're talking about. What's that ranch called? Where it's
Happy
like
cows.
500,000
the ranch
cows.
No 500,000 cows together can be happy.
Happy cows come from California, except for that place. Those cows do not look happy.
5, and boy, does that smell.
Oh my God, it stinks to high heaven too, as you might imagine. I haven't been up past that in a while because we've taken the 101 last couple times we went to San Jose.
You always know when it's coming up. You
Can't miss it.
A mile down the road.
You don't have to open your eyes to know it's there. That's for sure.
But you do have to open your eyes to drive, at least.
Sometimes on the 5, you don't even need to do that if you got proper cruise control.
That's true.
Although there's always the one guy who tries to pass at 50 and then slows everybody down.
Wait, what else was I going to say? There was more to say. Oh, I tasted 12 different kinds of caviar last night.
That
And
just
it was
as a
a
reminder to
Christmas
people,
gift.
she got the caviar tasting gift as a present.
From my husband.
How was it? Was it worth it?
Yes, it
Nice.
absolutely was. It was super awesome, amazing time, except for like the people we were sitting next to who we just must have a magnet on our backs that says like, please put the boars, boobs, and total D-bags right next to us in any given social situation. It was amazing. But I'm going to try to write it up because the things I heard, I'll never unhear.
Caviar.
Yeah, well, that was really good. Oh my God.
And so did Matt have any too, or
So no,
did he just drink?
He just drank. But I would give him like, it was sort of real ghetto at the fancy caviar place because like I can't not share things with my husband, right? So I was like trying to manipulate these little pearl spoons and put a little of each caviar on for Matt to taste. And then it ended up like us splitting our food and everybody looking at us like we were garbage. But you know what? Whatever. He bought $100 worth of beverages. So what are you going to do? Anyway,
Get off my back, people.
Get off my back, people. I'm conserving caviar. No, but it was seriously delicious. And the smoked fish was like weeping tears of heaven. It was so good.
Wow, weeping tears of heaven.
No, it really was. It was so good.
That's amazing.
So that was good. So all in all, that was my one thing I couldn't afford. Really glad I got it for Christmas. Learned a lot about caviar.
I cooked salmon for myself from Ralph's. It's very fancy. That's what I
ate
did.
Salmon that was cold smoked in a warehouse in Paris. So, it was pretty delicious.
You ate cold smoked salmon in addition to the caviar?
Yeah, they had this whole little mini. So it was like a caviar tasting and then a 4-course meal. And then
wow!
thing, yeah, some talk about and like.
I had a slice of Jarlsberg cheese, which was on sale at Ralph's, and the salmon that I cooked for myself.
That's good. Tonight we're back to. By the way, lest you think I live this night every night, viewers. Tonight we're back to chicken I bought at Ralph's that's pre-soaked in the pesto, and I'm gonna put it on the stove and eat it.
Ooh, pre-soaked in the pesto. That's smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although there's a really easy and good pesto recipe on the Foodist, foodist.com, which you can then freeze and I
Yeah.
freeze it in little balls so that you just pull a ball out of the Tupperware,
That's smart.
and then boom, pesto for your chicken.
I'm a lame-o. We have this. I'm a lame-o. So I don't want to use anything that makes me have to use and then wash the food processor because
You do. There's no way around it with that. Yeah.
right. And then, but the second thing is at our farmers markets, and I think you've probably seen it too. They have them at Whole Foods. They come in those little pouches, and it's a little expensive, but boy, is it the most delicious pesto. Woof, so good. So
All right.
it's-
Now that we've
yeah.
hopefully made at least half of you reasonably hungry, we are out of here. Goodbye.